We're on. Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Right, listen, we are going to be discussing this morning some crazy scenes that we saw, yesterday in London. Violent disorder on the streets where we've got, and I've not read this article yet. Protests broke out outside the Iranian embassy. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the dark times that are clearly on their way to the United Kingdom. Now, the reason I'm saying this, and I've been following this story maybe a little bit more in depth than I should have. It's not the big story that grabs the headlines like Trump bombs Iran, nuclear missile strike. But this is the story that is going to change the fabric of the United Kingdom, basically. The story of West Midlands Police, this West Midlands Police chief, the fabricated evidence. Now, look, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter why they fabricated evidence. Doesn't really matter if it was pro-Israeli, pro-Palestine, pro this group. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, just conceptualize that for one moment, right? We have now, and this is not speculation anymore. We have in the United Kingdom a police force who have openly admitted to fabricating evidence, presenting it to Parliament as fact, taking orders from a mob, and there's been no punishment, literally zero punishment. So it turns out, if you're a police chief and you lie to the police, if you're a police chief and you lie to Parliament, you lie to the public, you go against the laws and the infrastructure that you're sworn to support, turns out that's totally okay. Turns out that's actually a good thing. Turns out if you do that, you get to retire with your full pension, and it's not one of these big stories like special forces take Maduro, war in Ukraine. But these are the things that are eroding our society literally day by day. It's unbelievable, guys. It really is. Right. I'm going to jump straight on to the trouble last night outside the Iranian embassy in London. I think people need to stop making trouble outside the Iranian embassy. It doesn't end well for them. Right. Let me share this article with you, and then I'll read about it. And I'm waking up to this, guys, okay? I've not read this. Violent disorder at Iran's London embassy leaves 4 in hospital. A number of people have also been arrested on suspicion of violent disorder. Listen, guys, I'm going to read this now. I'll stop sharing it. I don't know what they were protesting. Like, are they like pro-regime supporters? Are they like, what are they protesting? What do they want? So let's jump down. Several police officers. I'm just going to read this article, guys, and then I'll jump over and get the comment, and then I'll get some comments, and I'll talk about why, like, dark times are an inevitability now coming to the United Kingdom. In fact, hang on, there's a video. Let me see if there's any ads. Right. Hang on, give me a second. I'll play this video. I'll get rid of the ads, and then I'll play this video. I've not seen this video. Oh, I can't pause it. Right. Let me share it now. Where's the volume?
Who climbed after a violent clash with protesters outside the Iranian embassy in London.
The Metropolitan Police say a number of people have been arrested, including one individual who climbed onto the embassy's roof to remove a flag. Now, the force has also confirmed that missiles were thrown at its officers. Well, Emma Birchley is here to talk a bit more about this. Just bring us up to speed then, Emma. What do we know so far?
Well, we've seen these anti-regime protests for a number of nights. This is the Iranian embassy in West London, South Kensington. We've seen previously someone climb up on a balcony, remove the national flag, replace it with a pre-Islamic Revolution flag. And basically that's what we've seen again. Someone's clambered up onto the balcony. They have removed...
I think people need to understand what that balcony signifies.
to flare up. You can see the police they were trying to push back the crowds. Missiles were thrown. We know that some people ended up being arrested. You could see the police at various points grappling with protesters on the ground. And as it was being filmed, you can actually take a listen and hear one of the protesters who's filming.
He's killing him! No, he's not. 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 Do me a favour, move back, please. Let's move back, please.
So she's saying he's killing him. Now, there have been complaints that the police were heavy-handed. They say that they were reacting to missiles being thrown. We saw one.
Right, I'm going to stop sharing this. I don't think it's. I think it's flim-flammer. I'll read the article. Let me read the article. So, several police officers, and I don't know what these guys are protesting. Several police officers have been injured after a protest outside the Iranian embassy in London erupted into violence. And I'll come on to the chat in a second, guys. The clashes have resulted in a number of arrests, according to the Metropolitan Police. Those officers had missiles thrown at them. So by missiles, I think that's a little bit, the word is a little bit misleading. I don't think they mean like an, I don't think they mean like a Taurus or a Storm Shadow. They just mean rocks or like something. Paramedics confirmed 4 people have been taken to hospital after the London ambulance service was called to the unrest in South Kensington. The Met said several of its officers have suffered injuries, with footage on social media appearing to show protesters were also hurt in the demonstration on Friday. It comes after weeks of I said this would happen, right? I said, look, guys, for whatever reason, there's going to be protests in the UK. I don't know what they're going to be protesting, but there will be. It comes after weeks of it just seems like there's a certain group of people who just turn up to anything. They turn up for a good old protest, throw some rocks, it seems like we've descended into anarchy. It comes after weeks of protests in Iran ended in violent repression at the hands of the ruling regime, initially motivated by the country's failing economy. The demonstrations grew to challenge the ruling regime itself. In a statement on X, the Met Police said one protester had been able to scale the Iranian embassy across multiple balconies and remove its flag. So I think these are anti-regime protesters. Section 35 is being imposed. So first of all, what this is showing is the divisions, right? What this is showing is the divisions. And yesterday I spoke about a civil war in the United Kingdom. And one of the things that I don't think, when people are doing these analysis of, civil war in the United Kingdom, I don't think they're taking into consideration as much as they should the vast amounts of diversity that we have in the United Kingdom. And it really is. It's phenomenal, the amount of diversity we have in the United Kingdom now. Some people say diversity is our strength, but in hostile times, that diversity turns from, if it ever was a strength, that diversity will not be a strength. It will not, because there'll be so many different fractioned lines. In addition to those taken to hospital, paramedics assessed and discharged more patients at the scene. Two patients at the scene, the ambulance service said. In Tehran, there's reportedly been no signs of protests for days, with shopping and street life returning outwardly normal. So the regime in Tehran have really come down hard. They've done mass arrests. They're talking about mass executions. They're talking about doing it quickly. And this is how you pull down a regime. This is how you rule by power. This is how you rule by fear. And listen, let's not pretend this is not coming to the United Kingdom, because if you guys are watching what's happening here in the United Kingdom, we are slowly turning into this. What you're seeing, listen, do you think people are happy in Iran, or do you think they're scared? Like, do you think the Persian people who live in Iran, do you think they're happy, or do you think they're scared? I'd say it's the latter. I'd say they didn't. I'd say the Persians in Iran, I'd say they've not stopped protesting because they're happy with the regime's, we're happy now. We're totally happy now with the regime. They've sorted everything out. Or do you think they're just terrified? I'd say it's the latter. So if you live in the United Kingdom, and I'm going to segue this into what I want to talk about this morning, dark times are coming. I'm going to give you some facts, all right? I'm going to give you some real things that are happening. I'm not going to pass judgment on them initially, but I will do. So in the United Kingdom, we are postponing elections. Obviously, we're not cancelling them because only dictators cancel elections. But here in the United Kingdom, we just keep postponing elections, right? We just keep pushing them to the right. We say, oh, yeah, we're going to postpone elections. We're going to have them mañana. So that's one thing we're doing. So people now don't get to vote on who is ruling them. People don't get to vote on who's governing them. People don't get to vote on, who their police chief is. People don't get to vote on who their mayor is. And look at West Midlands Police right now, all right? Just look at the West Midlands Police. Again, fact. I'm speaking facts, y'all. West Midlands Police, and I know listen, guys, I keep harping on about this West Midlands Police thing because it's fundamentally destroyed the fabric of our society, and nobody seems to be noticing how big this is. I'll give you these things and I come up with them straight away. Like, when like Danny Tomo and the rest of the guys went over to France, and I said to them, listen, they're going to get arrested, or they're going to, they're just going to have their passports taken off them. Guess what? Yeah, they didn't get arrested. They got banned from going to France, right? So everybody's saying, oh, look how great it is. Look how great it is. Look what they're doing. I said, look, they'll just close them down. Literally, they will close them down. The way to stop the boats coming over from France is this, right? You form an NGO, non-government organization. That NGO then has clearly stated missions and objectives to provide security and monitoring to northern France. Absolutely fine for the people. You're going to get a tick in the box from all the people in northern France. You are also there to clean up the beaches. So if you see a rubber dinghy, if you see an outboard motor, you dispose of that as per the guidelines set out by your NGO. But nobody wants that. Nobody like these problems that we're facing. Everybody wants this, like, this big gang of all these lads marching down the street. It's not going to happen like that. You have to start with the weeds. You have to start, you have to start, you have to fight. What's the guy? Not Damocles. There was a Roman emperor. Was it Fabian? There was a Roman emperor, and what he said basically was, there's no point fighting these big decisive battles because you're going to lose them and it's going to be a decisive battle. What you need to do is put more effort into avoiding big decisive battles and fight the small harassing battles on the peripherals. And over time, you will win. So if you want to stop the boats, if we want to stop the boats, that's the way to do it. Sending you loads of young lads out there, all spending their own money, time and effort going out there. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not happened. It's done. It's finished. It's over. That's it now. Done. The way to stop the boats is to set an NGO up in France. I said this after seeing these migrant camps and looking how the NGOs are protecting them. 30 seconds, I was like, yeah, I know exactly what to do. But nobody wants that. Nobody wants it. They all want, they all want this 1,000-man march. They all want the 10 million man march. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. People need to understand reality. They need to understand the vast levels and depths of subversion that goes deep within the United Kingdom. Sorry, I'm going on a sidetrack. Right. Okay. Let's go back to West Midlands Police. So what this protest and the violence that erupted last night in London outside the Iranian embassy shows is the absolute fractures and the breaks in our society. And I don't think anybody's under any illusion now. I'm convinced nobody, like, my friend's mum is a massive liberal. She is. I love her. Loza. I love Loza. She's great. You know, she made me lots of teas when I was younger. And Loza, she is a massive liberal. She's always been a massive liberal. Like really like massive. And she has gone 180 now. She is like, yeah, this is like ridiculous. This needs to stop. And she, you know, and she understands now that we're on a slippery slope, and that slope is heading downwards. So when I talked yesterday about these fractures, and more news has come out this morning about West Midlands Police, the reason I'm giving West Midlands Police so much airtime is because if you think about how deep and dark that actually is, and this is fact now, West Midlands Police, and it doesn't matter that it was, you know, I'm getting like people are in the comments saying, "Oh, Sean, you're a Zionist troll." I wish I was getting some money from Mossad or whoever. You know, Sean, you're an Israel. You're a Zionist troll. I'm like, really not. You know, it doesn't matter whether that was, you know, West Midlands Police fabricating evidence to stop the Israeli fans or the Tel Aviv fans, or whether that was West Midlands Police fabricating evidence to stop Spanish or whatever. It doesn't matter. The fact is this: we now openly accept, as a country, we're accepting it's okay that a police force at the most senior level can buckle to a mob, fabricate evidence using AI, present it to Parliament as fact, and nobody gets sacked. Nobody gets in trouble. That is just, oh yeah, that's just how we roll now. So where's the, you know, how many more police how many more police forces are corrupt, you know, compromised in the United Kingdom? You know, and honestly, it absolutely chills me. It really does. Right, let me jump on the let me jump onto the chat. Good morning, everybody on the chat. Good morning. Right, let me jump on here. Ultimate, less than half the time, unfortunately. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Right. Victor Meldrew is saying, to have a civil war, you need to be people from the same country. Yeah, okay, right, yeah. So when I use the word civil war, it's because I can't think of another word, right? I can't think of another word. But Victor Meldrew is quite right here in pointing out what we're going to have. So a civil war normally in a country would be one side opposing the government. That would normally be a civil war, right? What we're going to get in the United Kingdom is not going to be that. It's going to be us versus them versus them versus them, allied with them. But we're only allied with those guys until those guys have been defeated. The police are corrupt and they're allied with whoever's giving them the votes. So it's just going to be absolutely carnage. My low-end estimates of a death toll of, I know it's not the right word to use, of a civil war in the United Kingdom, but it's 2.1 million. That's my low-end estimate. Right, let me jump to the bottom. Right, guys, listen, I apologize if I'm not getting anybody's comments. Silly Gallardi is saying, what's wrong with being a Zionist? Listen, I still don't know what a Zionist is, right? I honestly, like, I Googled this a few days ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, actually. I put this in Google, and if you Google, and look, I genuinely don't know what, like, I don't know why people are getting so angry about this. If you put into Google, right, what is a Zionist? The response from Google is a Zionist is somebody who believes in a homeland for Jews. So, like, if you're British, right? If you're British, would you support? You know, if you're British Christian, would you support a homeland for Christians, somewhere that like Christians could go and feel safe? Like, would you support that? I know I would. So I don't know. You know, and I'd love to speak to somebody like these people who throw it up there saying you're a Zionist. I'm totally not. I'm like, you know, I want the people of Britain to be safe, and you know, and I want all people to be safe. The Watchman is saying the Iranian regime may have used chemical weapons. May have used chemical weapons against protesters. So I did a big thing about this in Ukraine. I can't remember what year it was. It was maybe like 15 or maybe 15 or 16. The Ukrainians were saying that they were using chemical weapons and the like tear gas, that's a chemical weapon. So when these people, you know, these are headline jumpers. Right, I'm jumping down. The Running Bear is saying, I feel like all countries are at war against each other. I never thought I would witness this in my lifetime. Yeah, it's crackers. It's absolutely crackers. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, we are talking about the violent disorder that broke out last night at the Iranian embassy. The dark times that are coming to the United Kingdom as a storm approaches. Now, I just want to talk about these storms, right? I'm just going to briefly gloss over these. I might share something with you in a minute, but apparently there's another storm on its way to the United Kingdom, and this one's going to be worse than ever. This one's going to be a massive snow bomb. It's going to be Snowmageddon. I'm sick of it. I really am sick of it, guys. Honestly, it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And it, quite frankly, I think embarrassing. I think embarrassing is the best word. So my friends are, you know, I've got, you know, friends in Ukraine, and they're telling me it's like -20 at night time, -18, -13, the warmest at daytime, you know, 2 foot of snow falling, and you know, and they're just coping. They're just coping. They are just getting on with it. You know, they're just literally like getting on with stuff. Yeah, how did you start your car? Oh well, I had to go and get the generator out of the house, and we had to go and put some, you know, jump leads on it. I had to put my generator down to 12 volts because the diesel wasn't warm enough. I had to use a, you know. And here in the United Kingdom, you know, snow bombs, and you know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. The last time we were supposed to get this storm Greta or whatever its name was, honestly, it was such a letdown. We was all sat there in the garden, right? And I'm literally just going to gloss over this. So we were sat there in the garden, right? We were sat there in the garden, and sorry, I made a den. We had some old carpet, so I like made a den over some chairs and the garden ladders and some chairs, and then I put a piece of carpet over it. And my theory was, right, okay, when it snows, this is going to turn into like an igloo, and it's going to be like a little magical snow den. Honestly, we was waiting there, sat in the window, all the hats and gloves on, and we just got like a little bit of slush for 5 minutes. I am absolutely done with thinking that the United Kingdom gets heavy snow, because we just don't, guys. We don't get heavy snow. I think it's done. But there is a storm approaching, and it does grab headlines. Right, let me jump to the bottom. Has it been snowing? The Great Nomadic Adventurer is saying, has it been snowing where you are, Real Raven? Haha, Charlie was asking. No, it's not been snowing at all. There's been a few there's been a snow warning basically, but we've just like got no snow. The Watchman is saying people are dropping for no reason days after they rioted, and body bags have been right. Okay, I didn't realize. Okay, that's yeah, that would be huge. Right, let me hang on. Let me open some. Where's my thing? Hang on. Give me a second. That one. Right, listen, if you guys are on TikTok, I am. This is another interesting one. So it turns out as well that Tony Blair, well, let's just see what this is. So if Tony Blair is going to be oversee rebuilding Gaza. So Tony Blair to oversee Gaza's future as part of Trump's great and most prestigious board of peace. I don't know. Is he a good choice? Is Tony Blair a good choice? So Tony Blair and his fellow members will each have a defined portfolio critical to Gaza's stabilization and long-term success, the White House has said. So, like, is this like the Fellowship of the Gaza? Is this like the Fellowship of Gaza? So Tony Blair will oversee the future of the Gaza Strip as part of the greatest and most prestigious board ever assembled, Donald Trump has said. It's going to be the greatest and most prestigious board ever assembled. It's going to be a great board. We really like those boards. Under the president's peace plan, the territory will be governed by an apolitical, transitional Palestinian government overseen by a board of peace. Now, the former Labour Prime Minister has been named as part of the body's founding executive board alongside several high-profile names from the Trump White House. Among them will be Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Mr. Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, who negotiated the peace plan, and Steve Witkoff, the president's special envoy for the Middle East. Other members are billionaire, I don't know why they're putting billionaire in there, Mark Rowan, World Bank President Aja Banga, that's his name, Banga, and US Deputy National Security Advisor Robert Gabriel. I don't know. I mean, the last time Tony Blair went into the Middle East with some, with some authority, it didn't really go too well. Right. What else have we got? We have got West. I'm going to jump back onto West Midlands Police because it just seems to be shunned under the carpet. It really does. It just seems absolutely shunned under the carpet. And it's like nothing to see here. Absolutely nothing to see here. So I will share this with you a second. So West Midlands Police Chief Craig Guilford retires after controversial Maccabi fan ban. The chief, I'll read this now. So the Chief Constable of West Midlands Police retired with his full pension, might I add, after his force faced criticism over the decision to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans from attending a football match against Aston Villa. The decision was made by the Birmingham Safety Advisory Group. Guys, look, I've done videos before when I've literally showed you who sits on this safety advisory group. There's a lot of people who I would consider have ties to the Middle East. So this safety advisory, guys, just go and Google them. Literally, do your own research. You can find them on Wikipedia, Safety Advisory Group, and then look at the chairman, look at the people who run it, and and then Google those people and look what they're, look what they've been accused of. Some fantastic stuff. So this safety advisory group, along with West Midlands Police, decided to ban the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from this football game. The Home Secretary said he had done the right thing by stepping down as Chief Constable. I don't think people think, like, is this what happens now in the United Kingdom? Like, are we seriously saying, right, that it's okay to buckle to a mob, fabricate evidence that doesn't exist, use AI to then fabricate further evidence, then present that evidence to Parliament claiming it's real, and the outcome? Nothing. You get to retire with your full pension. So the next time you're doing your tax return, just get, okay, I'm not saying this. Let me be quite clear. I'm not saying this, right? I'm asking a question. If the next time you did your tax, if the next time you did your tax return, you fabricated evidence using AI, and then you was caught, what do you think would happen? You would go to jail. You would absolutely go to jail. Maybe not go to jail. You'd definitely be fined. You'd definitely have a massive fine. Your company or your whatever you're doing would be sanctioned. Imagine any other walk of life. Imagine any other institution, right, where the leader, the boss, the head honcho buckles to a mob. Because remember, the evidence is out there now. The evidence from the minutes is The real threat wasn't from the Tel Aviv fans. It was from local activists who, and I quote, may arm themselves. That was the real threat. So the real threat wasn't from the Tel Aviv fans. The real threat was from the local community. And the question I keep asking everyone, and it's like a fundamental question that literally drills down to everything. Are there any other police forces in the United Kingdom that may have been compromised? Because this is absolute compromisation. If you're bending, breaking, fabricating evidence because there's a mob telling you to do so, you kind of don't have, you don't have control of your police force. Right, listen, you guys on TikTok, I'm going to be closing you guys down pretty soon. If you want to continue this live stream, I'll be continuing this for maybe like another half an hour or 45 minutes or whatever over on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. If you want to jump over now, you'll be most welcome. The chat's open. And if not, I will see you guys. I'll see you guys later at 8 tonight. But I will be closing you guys down shortly. Right, let me jump over and get some of these comments on the chat. Cindy is saying, nothing is happening yet, but at least it's being exposed. It's a step further. It is being exposed. And this is kind of the problem, right? This guy, what's his name? Hang on, I think his name's Chris Guilford. It might not be. Is it Chris Guilford? I think it's Chris Guilford. Right, it may not. I'm pretty sure it's Chris Guilford. Yeah, Craig Guilford. My mistake. I do apologize. Craig Guilford. Retired, not resigned, retired. It's unbelievable. So this guy, Craig Guilford, all right, it's quite clear it's quite clear what's happened. Okay, I don't need to go over it. As Cindy Archer's saying, nothing's happened yet, and that's the problem. There's no national outcry. Can you imagine, right? If there was, a police officer in the United Kingdom and that police officer fabricated evidence to be detrimental to, I don't know, just totally random, the Muslim community. What do you think would be happening now on the streets? You hear me? You feeling me now, one-time fam? That's the question, all right? This is the question, all right? So I'm not speculating and I'm just choosing a community, all right? Just random community. If, for example, there was a police officer in the United Kingdom and the scandal, let's flip the scandal. Let's say it's not against the Israeli fans or Tel Aviv, and it doesn't really matter. Let's just say that scandal will flip it. Let's just say that there was a cricket game and, the police chief went against the Pakistani community, went against. What do you think would be happening right now on the streets of the United Kingdom? Like, what do you think there'd be national outcries? And he has, do you think there'd be a headhunt? So when Cindy Archer's saying nothing's happening yet, that's kind of the problem. This guy is literally just being exposed for fabricating evidence and nothing's happened. Oh, okay. Have you fabricated evidence? Yes. Did you lie to Parliament? Yes. Oh, okay. And nothing, literally nothing. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking today. We've been talking about, in fact, I'm going to close. Guys, you guys on TikTok, you've got like 2 minutes and I'm going to be closing you guys down. I will be over on YouTube. I'll continue this live stream on YouTube and I will be on for like, I don't know how long. What was I going? Yeah, so we have been talking today, ladies and gentlemen, about the violent disorder in London and dark times that are approaching us here in the United Kingdom. Now, the violent disorder was, of course, the protests that broke out last night outside the Iranian embassy. Now, it looks like, and I don't know if this is the case. I'm pretty sure. I think this is the case. it looks like the Iranian regime have suppressed those riots and protests. Now, they've done it by being very brutal. They've come down hard on those people. They've done mass arrests. We don't know what the death toll is, and I keep saying this. Like from day one, I've been quite clear about this. I've said, look, any numbers on death tolls, on arrests that's coming from Iran, you all need to take it. You all literally need to take that with a pinch of salt, because any information that comes out of Iran at the moment, we just don't know, right? We just don't know what that information is. Now, the Iranian regime have come down hard and quashed that potential rebellion by being brutal. So now people are going out on the streets and they're like, yeah, if I get arrested here, I'm straight to the gallows. I ain't risking that. I'm good, thank you. No matter how bad things are, being in the gallows ain't much better. Now, for those people who think, if you're sat there and you think, oh, wow, this is Iran, it can't happen here. Oh, it can't happen here in the United Kingdom. Why can't it? I've just presented evidence to you that West Midlands Police could have been, allegedly, for entertainment purposes, could have already been compromised by the Muslim community in West Midlands. I don't think there's, if you think I'm wrong, guys, put it in the chat. And if you've got a different opinion to what's happening in West Midlands Police, please put it in the chat. So it looks like West Midlands Police has gone now, and there's no repercussions for them fabricating evidence and presenting that to the public. So fair enough, right? That's how they roll in West Midlands Police now. Okay, fine. If the people of West Midlands want to, if they want to vote and get a new police commissioner, if they want to vote and get a new local council because they're not happy with it, well, guess what? Voting through, I think, a third of the councils in the United Kingdom this May has been postponed. 1/3. So voting, obviously, cancelling elections is what they do in totalitarian states. Here in the United Kingdom, we just keep postponing them, right? We just keep postponing them. Okay, fair enough. But don't worry, because we still have trial by jury, don't we? We can, if we get convicted of a crime, we can still say, listen, I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. I don't think I'm guilty. I want to have my full trial by jury set out as per the Magna Carta. Yeah, we don't do that anymore in the United Kingdom. We don't do that anymore. So let me take the case of Lucy Conley. We all know who Lucy Conley is. She's a high-profile, tragically. She's a hot. In fact, you guys on TikTok, I'm going to close you guys down now. I'm going to continue this live stream on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. Go show your support. Home and Martin Quinn and Ruthen Manor and Crystal Clean. I hope you're all going to jump over to YouTube. But if not, don't worry. And Jack Clean as well. And Eva Run, hello, Eva Run. Eva Run's asking to join. Eva Run, jump over to YouTube. Lou and Shroomy and Matt Williams. Right, I'm going to close you guys down now, but I hope to see you over on YouTube. So close. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and we are off. Right, let me whack my finger, because I whack my finger every time. Whack my finger and drop my phone. That's how I roll. I roll with whacking my finger and dropping my phone. It's how I roll. Why wouldn't you want to whack your finger on a Saturday morning? So elections have been cancelled. Trial by jury has been cancelled. Now, let me talk to you guys quickly about the curious case of Lucy Conley. All right, the curious case of Lucy Conley. So those of you guys know, Lucy Conley was sent to jail for a tweet. She was sent to jail for a tweet. Silly Galadi is saying, Inshallah, Habibi, Inshallah. So Lucy Conley was sent to jail. I found myself speaking Arabic the other day. I started speaking Arabic. I can't remember where I was, but it just came out. It came off my tongue, and I was like, oh God. Anyway, Lucy Conley, stay on point, Sean. Lucy Conley was sent to jail for a tweet. It's looking like she's could be facing jail again now. So she could be facing jail again for sharing another tweet of so she shared a tweet or something, or an X post or whatever, a meme of, I think it was an AI generated thing where after Maduro, it said something like the soldiers were coming in to take Keir Starmer, and it was I'd like Donald Trump kicking him out or something. So basically, she's looking like she may have to go back to jail for sharing that tweet. Now, thousands of people shared that tweet, right? So I don't know. I don't know where this goes. Are they going to send everybody to jail? Like everybody who shared that tweet? Is everybody going to go to jail? Why Lucy Conley? I genuinely don't know, guys. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know how or why, but that's what's happening. Now, here's the thing, right? If Lucy Conley gets arrested, this is how bad it is, right? If Lucy Conley gets arrested now in the United Kingdom with the new laws, and this is my understanding of it, if I'm wrong, please put it in the chat. For entertainment purposes, this is for entertainment purposes. This is clearly not true. This is just my understanding of what's happening, all right? I don't want to get the knock at the door. So if Lucy Conley got arrested now for retweeting or sharing that tweet, and then she was up against the judge, and the judge says, right, I'm sentencing you to a year in jail for sharing that tweet. And she says, well, to be honest, Your Honor, I'm not guilty. I'm pleading not guilty. The judge says, oh, okay, right, well, I'll do your trial now. What? Yeah, I'll do your trial now. It'll be me. Oh, hang on a minute. You've just sentenced me to... Yeah. What about my jury? No, we don't do juries anymore. Yeah, you're guilty. 2 years now. Boom. That's what do you think a jury would do? Like if you presented, and I don't know the answer to this, if you presented evidence to a jury, right, about sharing a tweet that had been shared thousands of times, do you think that person should go to jail? Like for sharing a tweet that's been shared thousands of times? Like if anybody's got to go to jail, right? And I don't think anyone should be, but if anyone's going to go to jail, it should be the person who like made that tweet in the first place, right? Like whoever made that in the first place. Because like, once it's shared, it's gone. It's out there. It's out on the internet. So that's how wild things are in the United Kingdom. And for those people who think that, this can't happen here, it's already happening. We are literally living through it right now. We're living through it. Emma Jane is saying management tactics to arrest her, fear-mongering to stop others doing the same. I think you're right. Catalytic Converter is saying it would take less than 5 minutes to control the UK public. Look at the miners' strikes and the Battle of Orgreave. Even the hardest working class, the miners, stood no chance. You see, I agree. You're right. They brought in the military. Absolutely brought in the military. What we're looking at here, though, when I talk about... So I'm going to talk about civil war in the United Kingdom because it's not going to be civil war. It's not going to be a civil war in the classic sense where you've got two opposing sides, two clearly defined objectives, and two prominent leaders, two prominent problems or whatever. That's not what we're going to get. So where is it? Where's the comment? So while Catalytic Converter here is talking about the miners' strike and the Battle of Orgreave. So the Battle of Orgreave. In that context, you had two sides, right? You had the police and you had the miners. Very easy to deal with. Very easy to deal with. What we're going to have in the United Kingdom is the Pakistani community, the Bangladeshi community, the Somalian community, the British community. Some police forces will be corrupt. Some police forces won't be corrupt. Some will be semi-corrupt. The government will just be trying to keep on to their jobs. And it will just be crazy. you know. So I totally understand. I totally understand what you're saying. You know, I totally understand what you're saying, but that's not what's coming. It's not, that's not what's coming. You know, it's going to be us versus them versus them versus them, allied with those until those people are defeated. Then those people are going to turn on us. It's going to be bonkers. Sharon P is saying it's probably part of her probation terms that she's got a condition not to go online with any political content. Sharon, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the case is. She got sent to prison initially for a tweet, and I don't think she had probation terms before that. I don't know, guys. I'm not claiming to know. I'm not. I'm giving you guys this as an example. Sharon is saying, with all the Fabians on the bench, she would be screwed. Yeah, she would. She would be absolutely down like a swizzle. KK is saying the justice system has been cutting corners and cases dragged out since COVID. Loads of people are getting off with serious crimes and others are going to jail over social media. I think it's like content. Correct. It's happening already. Remember, I gave you guys this phrase, anarcho-tyranny, where you have anarchy and tyranny at the same time. So if you're a law-abiding citizen right now, you go to work 9 till 5, pay your taxes, you just want to be left alone, you are living under tyranny. You know, you are living under tyranny. If you want to be, if you want to come here illegally, live in a hotel, it looks like you can cause anarchy. Danielle, I can't pronounce your second name. Tuddenham. Danielle. Hello, Danielle. Danielle, I'm sure listen, Danielle, I feel like you're a beautiful soul. I know you are. Danielle is saying, honestly, we have zero rights as civilians in the United Kingdom. That's the only thing that's been made clearer and clearer by the government. I agree. Listen, I'm not saying this. I am not saying this. This is not me speculating now. Can you guys remember when the government came out and said that the migrants in the hotel's rights trump the rights of the people in Epping? Can you guys remember that? I'm not making that up. I'm not sat here saying that, lads, feels like migrants in the UK, their rights override the people of this country. No, I'm not saying that at all. I would never say that, because that would be distasteful. What I'm doing is I'm reminding you that the government's defense of keeping the hotel in Epping open was that the rights of asylum seekers outweigh the rights of the people of this country, of Epping. They're not my words, guys. They are not my words. They are words that were said by the Home Office defense team in the curious case of closing the Epping Hotel. And Danielle, I don't know if you are. I've just seen Danielle's comment down here. I'm gonna go to Danielle's comment. I am a beautiful soul, but I'm married to the B team, according to the Raven. The B team. They are the B team. The B team. The old B team. Right, I can't find your comment, Danielle. There we are. Right. So Danielle is saying, honestly, we have zero rights as civilians in the United Kingdom. That's only been made clearer and clearer by the government. Now, this is a trope that I've been talking about for a while. We really don't have any rights in the United Kingdom. And the reason we don't have any rights in the United Kingdom is because we don't have any right to oppose the government. Now, by opposing the government, ultimately, and I've spoke about this before, the only real currency is violence. And I don't want to, I'm not saying anybody should be violent, but I'm saying, without violence, ultimately to back something up, whatever you have built, you have to have the underlying threat of violence to back anything up. You do. That's just the way we work, right? So think about if you're driving on the M1, right? and you want to, and I you know, I genuinely don't speed. I set the cruise control, and you know, when you see a speed camera, doesn't your heart go? Literally every time you see a speed camera. So I just set my cruise control, and I just stay at like 68 or whatever. Anyway, unless it's, you know. So if you're driving on the motorway and you're speeding, right? The deterrent for you speeding is getting a parking ticket, right? Or a speeding fine, right? If you keep speeding, right, the police will arrest you. And if you refuse that arrest, the police will forcibly, using violence, arrest you and put you in jail. Now, let's pretend that we didn't have violence as the underlying currency. All right. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Right. Let's just say that we had all the laws, the legislation in place, but the police were not allowed to touch you. The police were not allowed to touch you. All right. What do you think would happen? So now you've got the guy speeding, and the police come and they say, "Excuse me, sir, you're speeding. Can you pull over?" And you're like, "No, I'm good. I'm not going to pull over." Everything collapses, and that's the reality. Now, on the flip side of that, as the civilian population of the United Kingdom, we have no legal framework to oppose a government. We don't, and I've said that, and I am going over old tropes. But ultimately, we need in this country some sort of constitution. You know, a Second Amendment type constitution. I'm not talking about guns. You know, as Danielle's husband has probably told her. You know, as Danielle's husband's probably told her, you don't need guns to, you know, you don't need guns to form militias and oppose the government. You don't need them. A lot of the cases, they're counterproductive. So the U.S. Constitution, the Second Amendment, is they have the right to form militias to oppose the government, to keep everyone safe. So basically, if the government in the United States turns into a tyrannical government and starts like cancelling elections, cancelling trial by jury, sending people to prison for Facebook posts, the people, you know, the people are allowed to say, "Do you know what, actually, we're good with this. We don't want this, and we are not going to do that. We're going to oppose you, and we have the ability to oppose you legally." Here in the United Kingdom, we do not have that. We have nothing. Right, listen, guys, there's been quite a lot of comments. Let me jump down to the bottom. Destiny Workman is saying, "You right." Thank you, Destiny Workman. Westminster is the House of Criminals. Is that what the Latin for Westminster is? House of Criminals. Is that what it, I don't know. Is that directly translated into is that direct translation from the old Latin? I've said that for a while, Sean. Violence is not nice, but the police use it for a reason, and the police are people to look up to, apparently. Yeah. So look, if we now consider what we spoke about at the beginning of the live stream, where West Midlands police are compromised, you know, does anyone look, guys? Can anyone throw me a counter argument to West Midlands police being compromised by the Security Advisory Group, which is heavily run by, you know, Muslim chairman? Can anyone tell me that that's not the case? I honestly, guys, like, can anyone tell me that's not the case and like didactify that for me? So let's go back to the case of West Midlands police. And again, I know I keep harping on about this because it's absolutely fundamental to like what's coming in the United Kingdom, and it's the canary in the coal mine, right? So if West Midlands police hold the monopoly on violence in West Midlands, and West Midlands police are being and West Midlands police are, you know, compromised, then who's really in charge, and where does that violence really go? Sean, you've just said a true comment about migrants. They will be knocking on your door and locking you up, getting your bag packed. Up the hill and around the corner saying, "I set it to 155. I don't know what that means. Are you guys talking about cooking? I know you do cookies at about 155. I don't know what that means. Silly Gallardi is saying, "Oh, right. Right, I don't. Okay, I don't know what that means. You guys are talking among yourselves. Right, let me jump down. Kevin Mills is saying, we knew they were compromised due to the things they did and tried to stitch Tommy Robinson up. They've been compromised for decades. Listen, so it comes back to the fundamental question, right? It comes back to this fundamental question I asked right at the beginning, and I've been asking for a while. If West Midlands police are compromised, how many more police forces are compromised? That's the chilling reality, you know. And we all have to wait, and we all have to accept that, you know. It's all well and good. It's all well and good, you know, thinking. You know, at the beginning of not Highlander. What's the movie with Mel Gibson? It's like Road Rash? Is it not Road Rash? What's the dystopian movie with Mel Gibson? Can somebody help me out? What's the dystopian movie with Mel Gibson? I can't remember. Anyway, Mad Max. Yes, thank you, Kev Mills. Thank you, Kev. Yeah, Mad Max. Sorry, guys, I was totally on a sidetrack then. Yeah, Mad Max. So there's this movie. So what we have, where I think we're gonna go is, remember the movie Mad Max, right? Mel Gibson, fantastic movie. The first one and the second one. The third one were a bit gay, and the ones with Tom Hardy are just terrible. So at the beginning of the movie, Mad Max with Mel Gibson, it's like this dystopian world, right? Where there's clearly been a breakdown of everything. There's been a breakdown. Nothing's working, right? You don't know what, you don't know how, you don't know whether it's been a nuclear bomb. You don't know what it is, right? But there's still a police force, right? But the police force are only pretending to be a police force. They don't really have any power. They don't really have any authority. They just have that perceived authority. And people are still pretending that things work. And people are still pretending that everything's okay. That's what we're going to go into. And you can see it now. So if you live in West Midlands, you know, if you guys live in West Midlands, or maybe even other countries, counties or counties around the country, you're pretending that the police force is not corrupt. You're pretending, and everybody's just pretending that everything's okay. And like, I know, you know, it's not as bad as Mad Max yet, but that's where I think we're going, you know, where we have a police force that just pretends to uphold the law, where we have citizens who just pretend that there's a police force. And ultimately, this is just going to get worse and worse. Baron is saying, Mad Max, here we come. Yeah, Mad Max is a great movie. Mad Max is a fantastic movie. I prefer the I mean, if we had to choose, right? If we had to choose what dystopia we're going to, like Mad Max or Altered Carbon, I guess, like, are we going to go in like Mad Max, like steampunk? Are we going to like the steampunk dystopia or the cyberpunk dystopia? I would totally choose cyberpunk, but I don't know. I don't think we're going to cyberpunk dystopia. I think we're going to Mad Max dystopia. Danny Walker is saying there's a woman on TikTok that is being harassed by the government and police for being a whistleblower against. Then she can't leave her house or anything. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that's a whistleblower against the police. We love a good whistleblower. We're like Running Man. Another great Arnold film. You know what? Yeah, I guess. You know what? Actually, yeah. So I think what sausages. I had to think them for a second. So what sausages are saying is, sausages dystopia is like a Running Man dystopia, where we're all glued to the TV to Celebrity Love Island and Celebrity Beach Ball. And we're all just looking at this, going, ooh. And all this shit's going on behind us. Watch the TV at 7. Watch the TV at 7. Yeah. Right, listen, guys. The time is coming. The time is coming. Oh, Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner. I do. I love Blade Runner. I hope we get to that. I hope, guys. I love that cyberpunk genre. I do. Honestly. I feel I may have been born like 300 years too early. I think I was. I think I was born 300 years too early. And I want to live in that. I either want to live in a. I think Lord of the Rings, that like fantasy world, or like an altered carbon world. Because this one at the moment, the world we're in right now, it's just like a transitional period, right? We're in like this like wild transitional period. So listen, guys, I've been talking we've been talking about the violent disorder in London outside the Iranian embassy. We knew protests were going to erupt. Protests always erupt. We've been talking about the dark times that are coming. Now, you can see these cracks. You can see these fissures. You can see these real-time erosions. You can see these now in our society, now in the fabric of our society. The Home Secretary, even Shabina Mahmood has lost confidence in this guy. Like, you really can't make this up, everybody needs to keep an eye on this. You need to stay ahead of the curve. I'll repeat this again, all right? We have a situation in the United Kingdom where the chief of police fabricated evidence on the word of the mob to ban fans from coming to Birmingham. They created evidence to say that the Tel Aviv fans were violent. That evidence was fabricated. The real threat, as it turned out from the minutes that were released, the real threat was from the local community. I'm just going to leave it there. Local community who were going to actively, who may have armed themselves and actively protest. They're not my words, guys, okay? They're not my words. They're words that have come out on the mainstream, okay? He then used AI. They claim it was an AI. It was an AI artifact, and it never happened. I'm not convinced. They used AI to then produce evidence, fake evidence. They then presented that fake evidence to Parliament and claimed it was real. And this guy, he's not been sacked. He's retired with his full pension, full honours, probably goes back to lunches. Now, if this is happening, this is the one that we found out about. This is the one that we found out about. And like I say to you guys, when we get these people who have been arrested for planning mass events in the United Kingdom, outside the Oasis concert, Meadowhall in Sheffield, other high-profile events, and I say to you guys, I say, right, ladies and gentlemen, is this the one? Is this the only one? Is that it now? Are we totally safe? Or do we think more people are planning things in the United Kingdom and around the world, of course? So that's where we are now, guys. And the question I'm going to ask everybody about this is, do you think that this is the only police force that has been compromised? I don't know. I would speculate not. But, the reality is we don't know. Right, guys, I am going to close this down. I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. I'll be back on later today at 8. If there's any kaboomers dropped on Iran, or anything like that, I'll jump straight back on, guys. I'll do another live stream. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you all good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is when you guys are watching this. Kev Mills is saying the Met Police, I'm assuming means, is fully compromised. I wouldn't know. I don't have the information, but you know what? I would speculate there are more police forces that have been. I would agree. I would speculate that there are more police forces that have been compromised. And if that is the case, ladies and gentlemen, do you feel safe? You know, and also. Oh, and Danielle is saying, from my veteran family to yours, appreciate the lives every day, mate. Thank you, Danielle. And I hope you're gonna be back on the live stream tonight at 8. I'm not gonna make any I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna leave it there with the B team. Anyway, guys, I'll be back on at 8, and I'll bid you all a great, fantastic, productive Saturday morning.